Welcome to the Chainout podcast with your hosts, Jeremy and Daryl.
That's right.
Hello,
Daryl
Jeremy.
and
Welcome.
Jeremy!
Welcome to episode 18.
Yes, episode 18. How are you doing, buddy?
I don't even know what to say.
Well, what whatever you mean? You're not liking my attire that I'm sporting today?
I felt like I need to vocalize it for our listeners.
Sure, go ahead.
You're sporting. You look like I don't know what you want. I don't know what you look like. You're wearing a red Hawaiian shirt.
Yes.
You got your arm over the back of the chair like a. You got like a Tom Selleck vibe going on with no mustache. You got a red Hawaiian shirt.
The mustache is in the other room. I should go grab it.
Exactly.
The one from the secret part of the video.
You've got sunglasses on, which I can only describe as being Anthony Barella-esque.
Yes, I'd agree.
And a bucket hat, like you're a Casey Hannemeyer wannabe.
Yes, with my brown plaid. It's even reversible. Let me show you. It turns into corduroy.
Oh. This is awesome. You got the tag in the front. There you go. Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Say people, just so everybody knows that we don't script this. You've totally sprung this on me. I don't even know what to say.
Well, what you need to say is, Jeremy, you're so dressed for the weather. I am done with the winter. We've got some plus 12 temperatures heading our way this weekend. Let's get into summer and let's be disc golfing on some nice green grass. That's where I'm at, Daryl.
Yeah, you're somewhere. I don't know where you're at, but you're somewhere for sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. The weather's changed. It's all looking good. You're looking good.
Thank you, sir. You're not looking too shabby yourself.
Thank you. I didn't. If I'd known that we were going to dress up, then I would have gone for it as well. But
well,
yeah.
That's the other thing about these episodes. Now that we're trying to kind of get into summer mode, and we're starting to. What do we talk about? We talk about continuous improvement. We always say that, and we're also talking about workflow, and we're trying to improve workflow. So I can now start surprising you because you're not going to be able to change it.
Exactly. Yeah. I guess talking about the workflow in the episodes, we should probably touch on that a little bit. Hey.
Yeah.
If I can stop smiling at you.
Okay, I'll take it off.
It's okay. So people didn't mention it in the last episode, which I guess is kind of a good thing, that we're kind of mixing up the format a little bit. Normally what would happen is I would download all the tracks from the recording software that we use, edit it all in my on my computer, and then add all the fancy graphics, add all the cutaways, and clip any bits out that were not recordable and things like that, or broadcastable, and then re-upload it to YouTube and to Spotify and everything like that. But what we're trying to do is, because we realize that come the summertime, time is going to be a premium. We're going to be wanting to be out disc golfing after work. If we hit some tournaments up, we're going to be gone maybe the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or, a long weekend, things like that. So time is going to be hard to come by. So what we're trying to do is we're just going to try and record these through YouTube and just put them out live. So we've recorded, this will be the second one that we've recorded using YouTube without doing too much editing to it. So you won't have the fancy director's cut back and forth between whoever is speaking and the guests and things like that. But hopefully you won't notice any difference in the quality. If you're listening, you won't notice any difference anyway. It'll still be uploaded to Spotify and things like that. So that'll all be good. But yeah, that's the way we're going to try and do it. And what we're hoping to work towards is actually just recording them live on YouTube and having them available. So in the future, maybe we'll set a time, maybe sometime on a Wednesday, probably around about 7:30, whenever we decide that is going to be our go-to time to record. So you can stop by the YouTube channel. If you're subscribed, you'll get a notification that we're going live. And you can watch the episode, but don't forget to also go back and rewatch it on YouTube and listen to it on Spotify as well, because we need those comments and we need those viewing figures up. But hopefully if we just do them live, it'll be one take. It will be what it'll be. If we mess up, if we laugh, if whatever happens, that's what's going out there live to the world. So
Yeah,
That's the
in the
plan.
past there you've seen whether, in the Christmas episode we started out with a bunch of laughs because that's just kind of the guys we are. We want to have fun and we do have fun every time we record. But sometimes our bloopers and our outtakes get so long that they just had to be cut and
Yeah.
but now they won't be. So if it takes us 2-3 minutes to get our stuff together, you're going to either love it or hate it, but you're going to be part of it that whole time.
Yeah. So it is what it is. That's the evolution of the podcast. It's probably a must for us during the summer. Like I said, there's other things, other priorities that we have, and as much as we like talking about disc golf, we actually want to get out there and play disc golf as well. So
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. And Daryl, too, with that as well. Um, People, I know no one thinks podcasting is an easy job, but when we get a guest on and we might have to tweak their sound or we have to help them with their camera or something and we're going to have to do it live, you're going to get a feeling of what you really do for the podcast, all the things that you do, but some of that behind the scenes, they're going to see it happening in real time.
yeah, yeah. Actually, part of my job is being technical and troubleshooting and things like that. So it kind of comes second nature to me to help people out and work them through their problems. It's not always a case of just turn it off and on again. Sometimes you actually have to work and figure out what the issues are. I think we had one guest on that actually just muted himself. And, I don't know how we actually figured out how to, it was just a silly mistake that he made. He muted himself. We couldn't hear him for half an hour or so. But
Yeah, that silly guest. You almost would think he was like a co-host or something.
A little bit behind the scenes there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
So
yeah, well, the other thing we should talk about
weather,
too is while we're trying to compartmentalize and get as much of this work done as we can at one time, we tried that tonight with as we've been experimenting with Instagram Live, and we just put out the Instagram Live before this podcast for our 100 subscriber contest. So thank you, everybody. You did it. We did it.
To 100.
We got to
over 100. We got our 100 subscriber giveaway, which is what we were aiming for. And we surpassed our 100 subscriber giveaway. As of the time of recording right now. Oh, sorry, I hit it again.
So many drum rolls.
109. We surpassed it. We've continued to grow. As we like to say, don't stop subscribing. Don't just, now that we've done the giveaway, that's not your cue to cancel your subscription. We're continuing to grow. We're getting the new prize giveaway ready for the next big milestone. So there's a benefit to keeping subscribed. They're only going to get bigger and better.
Yes, they will. And we've already started the package for the next milestone. We haven't determined what that milestone will be for a number, but you guys give to us by supporting us and allowing us to share our fun and these interviews and giving us the opportunity to interview these people by your support. When we have a lot of subscribers and a lot of followers on our social media, it makes it a lot easier when we're asking people to be on the show. They're more interested to be on it. So we appreciate that. We want to give back to you when we can. And that's one of the ways we can do it is by putting together these little packages with what we can. And hopefully at some point we get a big budget and we can do bigger ones, but this is what we do for now. And we hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. And, that's what we're about, right? Even if we get to a point where we're monetized or if we get a budget or whatever the case might be, it's not a case of, doing this to make money. If any money we get, we're just putting it right back into the show. We're, making, like we've done with the marketing already. We've got stickers. We have a banner. We're giving discs away, things like that. It's all about making it more engaging for everybody else. But while we're speaking of the prize, before we actually announce our winner, because we did, like you said, we went live on Instagram. We did the giveaway. Thank you for everybody that tuned in. We went live just before recording this episode. We were live for about 10 minutes. We did the draw, but do you want to give them a quick rundown of what the prize pack is, just in case anyone has forgotten?
Yes, I do have it kind of handy, but I can run through it quickly. I've got here we go. We had the Bindle
Jeremy
Zizou.
is sporting a baby blue Bizou Bindle bag.
Yes, a Zizu bindle bag holds 10 to 12 discs, also a water bottle holder on one side, compartments for your accessories, and anything else you may like to bring to the disc golf. I don't even know what voice I'm doing there, Daryl.
I don't know where
I've
that
got
was
so
going
many
either.
of them. Not
Inside
only
the
was
blue
it with
bindle
that
bag,
in it, yeah, but we also had a BR stamped
the
harp.
star prize, the
Yes.
baby blue harp BR stamp.
Yeah, and it's got a kind of a topographic, holographic stamp and kind of a burst pattern on there. And then to go with it, we have a red BR Mini, as I'm trying to turn it there for you. Also got a kind of a foil stamp on there. And then there were stickers galore. It was like, do you remember, Daryl, I don't know if this was a thing in England, but when I grew up, did you have sticker books?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like I'd have an old photo album and that you'd get stickers and you'd stick them in your sticker book.
Yeah, kind of. We had other kind of sticker books as well. We used to collect soccer stickers and put the stickers in the book. Yeah.
Yeah, those were the ones where, there was a sticker and it was sticker number 7 and it went in spot number 7. Beyond those, I just had an empty photo album and I would collect stickers and put them in there. And you'd get poofy stickers and you'd get scratch and sniff stickers and you'd get, sparkly stickers.
Holograms,
so anyone who is our vintage has to remember it. So tell us in the comments because that'd be awesome because I could just see starting a disc golf sticker book with this. Yeah. So anyways, we've got some 2023 BR ambassador team stickers, including, Dan Dupree's Kristen Swirls, Zoe Lorenz Bozer, Jonas Stolpot, Brendan Kudrowicz, and Nolan Litvak. Hey, I did that off memory.
You did. Very good.
Yeah.
You forgot the dog, but that's okay.
Oh, and the dog is Duke.
Duke the dog.
And you like Dags, right?
I like Dags.
There's a BR sticker. We got a BR sticker here. We got a BR camo sticker, and then last but certainly not least, the first run chainout sticker. If you were at Tundra Toss, you've got one, but if not, now you've got one in this one.
Yeah. So we did the draw. We did it random. It was live on Instagram, so we know there's no fixing. And the lucky winner, we're going to give 48 hours. We're going to message them. We're going to 48 hours to get in contact with us to find out a way we can get this stuff to you. If not, we're going to do another draw. But the lucky winner was Frolf Jerry.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Frolf Jerry.
You are the winner of the 100 subscriber giveaway pack.
You know what, though? I am a Seinfeld fan. Yeah. And Frolf Jerry is, of course, a take on Seinfeld. And what it was is when, I believe it was the summer of George, when George was going to have the summer of George, he's going to say, Jerry, I'm gonna frolf, Jerry. I'll frolf. So that's where it comes from. So we believe Frolf Jerry is a real person. I know that Heiserbaum Hong and Carrie Neal both follow Frolf Jerry. So hopefully we get this prize to them. And if not, by the time you hear this, we have hopefully given it away to the next person.
There you go. So speaking of Instagram Lives, we dipped our toes in the water a little bit earlier in the week.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
So that was out on Saturday. You and I went out and we were going to play around at Hermitage. But before we started, we decided to do our first Instagram Live.
Yeah. And kind of went successful. There's a few things we need to work on, but we kind of got through it. Everybody that viewed it enjoyed it, I think.
Yeah. And what we did, and I'm going to get it right because we have a friend of the show, Mark Thompson, who likes to make sure we stay true with our words, right?
Yeah, can't slip up around the grammar Nazi. Not the soup Nazi, but the grammar Nazi.
Yeah, there's another Seinfeld reference for you.
I got it. I throw it back for you.
You're there.
Yeah, I got it.
So what we decided to do is we did a 3-hole disc dice challenge.
Yeah.
So I'll demonstrate. I'll show.
So friend of the show, Mike Carey, who's been mentioned on a few other episodes. He's 3D printed some other things. I think he printed an umbrella for Brock for his disc golf cart. He's the manufacturer of the birdie beads that we've mentioned before. He was kind enough to print out these disc dice. So on one disc, you have the type of shot that you need to throw. Correct, Jeremy? So you've got Anheuser, Heiser.
what do we got here? We got like backhand, we got forehand, hyzer, anhyzer, roller, and then a wild card. Your choice.
So you throw that dice, inside a disc, and then the other dice that you have to roll tells you which type of disc to throw.
Yeah, and what it says is driver, understable, overstable, wild, of course, mid-range, putter, and I think that's it.
That's it. Yeah. So it definitely breaks up around it, creates some interesting combinations of. I think on hole 1 you got quite lucky. You had a backhand anhyzer, which for hole 1 is a perfect
at Hermitage.
Shot. At Hermitage, sorry, yeah. At hole 1 at Hermitage is a perfect shot. You want it on that anhyzer to fade left to right.
The worst part too, Daryl, as anyone who watched it, is I did throw. I'm not really a great anhyzer thrower, but I threw an understable disc, a mid-range, and turned it right around that corner, and then proceeded to lose the disc. But don't worry, friends out there and listeners, is that we did end up getting that disc back the same day.
Yeah. But then, it also created some other interesting combinations. With my first shot on hole 2, the hole 2 doesn't always call for this shot, but I ended up being told that I had to throw a roller putter off the tee in the thick snow.
Oh, that was a sight to behold. Mike told me at putting night, he said that was his favorite part of the video.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. So, yeah, it gave us good combinations. We played 3 holes. When we finally did get to hole 3, we were joined by Zoe Lorenz-Bozer, who showed up to have a round of golf. She joined us for that 3rd hole, and she participated in the Disc Dice Challenge as well. So we ended up putting out, and we had a good time with her. And that was our first experience going live. It was good to interact with people that were tuning in as well.
Yes. And I think what wasn't it kind of funny was on that hole, on hole 3. So anybody who knows that one, there's some trees out in the way there, and you've got to throw. Really, the throw is a hyzer, right? Yeah. It's a hyzer throw to get around the trees and get to the basket. You got like a backhand hyzer. I think I rolled like a backhand hyzer. Yeah. And then what did Zoe roll? She rolled like a putter forehand or something?
Forehand putter, yeah.
And what did she do? She proceeds to just nail it.
Exactly, with the zone.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think at that point we decided, like what we found about doing the disc dice was that it made you do different shots. And, there are times where maybe that's not the shot you have to do, but there are other times where you might be behind a tree or in an obstructed position. And it's going to probably make you better by forcing you to try some other types of throws.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't quite know when I'm going to need to roll a putter off the tee or 30 feet away using an anhyzer driver to do my approach shot. But yeah, it definitely just puts you in different places on the green, different places on the course.
Yes.
On the hole.
So I think what we're going to do is we had some good feedback. We're going to try to improve the way we film that footage for those Instagram lives, but we'll see if we can meet up with people out on the course and do some more of these disc dice 3-hole rounds.
And even if we don't do the disc dice 3-hole rounds, we're trying to be more active on social media, trying to get a bit more variety. All of this social media stuff is still quite new to us, so we're not sure what to post, when to post, and things like that. So we're typically just posting our clips for the episodes and the highlights and things like that. But we want to get a bit more variety up there. So whether it be Instagram lives or just daily posts, behind the scenes that we just posted of our studio setup today, things like that. We just want to get out there and show some more variety and be more accessible, I guess. Be a bit more interesting.
And being out there in that social media world now that we're in there, I don't want to say that we're dancing monkeys or anything like that, but at the same time, if there's something that you want to see a couple 40-plus amateurs try out on video, as long as it's within reason and it's disc golf related or adjacent, we'd give it a try. Well, I guess there could be a little, maybe if it's beer related too, we might be interested in that as well.
Yeah. Maybe when we start our Patreon, if you want to subscribe to Patreon, maybe, all those special requests, get them in there. Then you would never know. We'll see what we can do.
That's it, for sure. Well, Daryl, before we get to the guest, I did have a little bit of news that I kind of wanted to talk about that happened today.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm really super excited to make an announcement that I am now, for 2024, going to be a Limber Lift Pinecone.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well deserved.
Yes. So for those who don't know, Limber Disc Golf is the big Calgary disc golf store. Our friend Mark Thompson's been down there to check it out and just raved about the store.
Yeah.
And because not only is it disc golf, it's all types of cool things. It's got a bar inside there where you can sit down and have a beer while you're perusing the discs. So that's a great thing. They host live mic nights and they use their space for a number of different community related events, but disc golf is their primary. And similar to what Brendan's got going with the BR Ambassador team, that's what the Limber Lift Pinecone team is. So my sister ended up nominating me. I don't know if there's other people who nominated, but if they did, thank you very much for that. And I got contacted by Limber and they liked what you and I are doing. So thank you to you. Thank you to all the listeners because they appreciate the work we're doing on Chainout and just what we're doing in the community. So I am so pumped and excited to see what this year holds.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I think it's nothing to do with, I mean, it might be something to do with the podcast, but even if you weren't doing the podcast, people who know you, you're always out promoting disc golf, whether it be, chatting to people on the course or, participating in tournaments and always talking up disc golf to everybody. So, well deserved. You are sponsored. I am not sponsored, but I don't.
We constantly have this battle, but yes.
Yeah.
So you guys, you'll see me out there. I'll be sporting Limber wear when I'm out at tournaments. One of the nice things is being a Pinecone, if I get a birdie in a tournament, Limber plants a tree. So that's a cool little feature.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'll be volunteering at tournaments and events and also helping with workshops and at some point hosting a workshop as well. So again, thank you to everybody because I know, yes, thank you, Daryl. I know I'm positive out on the course, but everybody listening here, I'm sure that definitely just gave me one more feather when in the cap when they were trying to decide who to pick. So excited for the year.
Awesome. I'm very happy for you.
So Daryl, I think it's about that time, buddy.
It's got to be.
The time that everybody loves about this show. Not the funny banter and the costumes and the sound effects. That's not what they want.
They don't want the faff, Jeremy.
No, let's quit faffing about, Daryl, and let's get to the meat and potatoes of the episode. That meat and potatoes would be our guest.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing about this. A lot of you guys know the guests that we have, but we want to make sure you're getting to know everybody. We want to get to know Edmonton area. We want Alberta. We want Canada. So here we go. I'm moving to the script, Daryl, because I want to get this intro done well.
Go for it. We're all about introducing to disc golf and introducing new people. So hit us up, Jeremy.
Okay. Tonight's guest may be a new name for some of our local listeners, but not for anyone who follows the Western Canadian MPO. He has been a PDGA member since 2013. He is a lead card and chase card staple on 8 years out west. He was the 2023 BC Doubles champion. He hails from Mexico but calls Canada his home. Always positive and fun on the course, and he rocks the best hair flow and clothing style in the Canadian MPO. We are excited to have Miguel Alvarado on the show. Welcome, Miguel!
How you doing, buddy?
Good. Happy to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
no problem. We're glad
we're
you could make
so
it.
excited you could make it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
It's been a little while coming, but we've had you on our list for quite a while, pretty much since we watched. Well, I was out at the TCO last year, and then I got to see the Parked Pro coverage. So pretty much since then, we were like, we need that guy on the show.
Oh, awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Good. Happy to be back in Canadian soil.
Yeah. Have you been back long? Obviously, for our listeners that don't know, you were recently down in Mexico, correct?
Yeah, I was there for over 2 months. I got back a few weeks ago, trying to get back into the rhythm of things over here.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
And
job
when you
that
came back, Miguel, was it a hard transition again, or are you used to that, to going from Mexico with the nice, beautiful, hot sun and the warm weather to the rainy temperatures of Vancouver area?
I honestly thought I passed the winter part of it and I was gonna come into spring, and I think I was like a couple weeks short of that.
Oh,
That's what I was going to say. It's a good job thing that you live in BC. You don't live in Alberta.
Yeah, you guys get a little bit more snow than we do.
That's a bit more of a transition, I think. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. Daryl has a lot to say about the weather out here. He's originally from England, so he's got his opinions. But
Of course.
this year's been a little worse in the fact that we've been really, really cold, and then it's been really beautiful and nice, and then the snow dumps again. It's been back and forth, and that's just not up Daryl's alley, hey?
No, I don't like that either. I can agree with Daryl there.
Yeah. I'm more of the take that if it's going to be cold, let's just keep it cold and stay cold. And then the disc golf courses, they stay snowy, they get trampled in, and then they're okay. But when we, as Jeremy likes, when it warms up to +5, when we get that nice relief of the weather, it warms up, all the snow melts and it freezes overnight, and then you get the
Oof.
thaw and the freeze, and then you turn into lakes of ice, and it's not good for anybody. So
That's
we have
not
a bit
fun.
of a different opinion there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
What I do like to say to Jeremy, and I say this quite a lot, is
I value your opinion, but you're wrong. I value your opinion, but you're wrong.
sorry.
So yeah, so Daryl says that so often now, Miguel, that he's just created a little sound clip that he can just press the button instead of having to say it.
I like that.
There you go.
So have you been getting a chance? Like, has it been raining a lot out there? Have you been playing at all, or?
It's actually, we had like 2 days of snow, and then after that it rained and it was gone the next day. What I've been finding hard to adjust is the cold, right? I was by the sea in Mexico. I was able to find a course that is right by the ocean.
Mhm.
Yes,
So you
okay.
can imagine being able to play every day in the sunshine and then coming back to this. It was a little bit difficult to adjust.
Yeah, I could
Yeah,
see that.
yeah.
But I think you'll be set when we get towards the end of this interview. You're going to be set for Daryl's questions that he kind of wraps the interview up with by the sounds of what you're talking about. So,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's your local course that you play out there? Is there one that's kind of close by to you?
So I've been living in Vancouver for 10 years now, and I found the perfect place. I'm right in the middle of three courses. We have Queen Elizabeth Park,
Okay.
another course called Kulchina Park, and Jericho. And
Okay.
I'm exactly like 15 minutes away from all of the,
Wow.
or like the three of them. So it
Nice.
works out perfectly.
That's awesome. And is one of those your favorite, or?
Kulchina Park is my favorite, and the only problem that we have is that there's a lot of pedestrians, and they don't like to share the park, unfortunately, with disc golfers.
Right.
Right.
So it makes it a little bit difficult. You gotta pick and choose. It's perfect for the winter. You can go and play. As soon as you see a little bit of rain, you can go playing. Nobody's gonna be there. But if the sun comes out, it's impossible to play over there.
Gotcha.
Surely that's just going to make you a better disc golfer, right? Because you have to avoid those pedestrians. It's like avoiding the trees. You have to be pinpoint with
Yeah.
your approaches.
Unfortunately, that's like a British area, so they're not welcoming over there. And as soon as the desk goes anywhere near them,
Yeah.
they stop, pick up your desk, and they try to leave with it. We had, I think, a couple of years ago, an incident where someone came and vandalized the course. They cut all the baskets
Oh,
and they put them away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's why I think, even the PDGA, when you join, they give you that etiquette card, and it's always making sure that it's safe to tee and respecting the other people on the course, because to try and make sure to keep those relationships strong at those parks and keep those courses in place.
Yeah. Well, you want to treat people the way you would like to be treated, and I don't think you would like it if somebody was throwing things at you, right? So I think if you treat others the way you would like to be treated, there shouldn't be any problem there. But unfortunately, not everybody sees that, right? And yeah,
I guess
some of
that's
us have to pay for that.
I guess that's the downside to our sport, right, Jeremy? Because we always say that the thing about disc golf is great. You just buy a couple of discs, you can walk out. You don't have to book a tee time. You don't pay for the course. You can walk up. It's free. It's community based. Everything is positive. The downside to that is the fact that you're not paying, and it is an open park course. And the cities do a great job of putting them in the Greenland area where they can, but unfortunately they're multi-use areas, right? So it's kind of that symbiotic harmony that we have to get with everybody that's just using the course. And like you said, on a nice sunny day, they want to go and sit on the grass and have a picnic. But unfortunately, that happens to be the fairway of hole 17 for me.
That's it.
It's give and take. We love the sport. We love that it's free. We love that it's so accessible for everybody, beginners and more advanced. But, there are some things that we have to live with as well. But if that's what's going to keep it free and keep that community spirit and everything like that, I'm all for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Miguel, with Daryl saying that, he's got a funny story at one of our local courses that happened to him last summer. So he was out playing on his own. And sometimes we think that people out on the parks and that just don't even know what a disc golf course is. So he's standing on the tee pad and he's looking straight out at the basket. And in between him, halfway between, there's a log and there's a lady there and she's taking some selfies and getting all her pictures for her Instagram and everything else. So he kind of is just sitting there waiting nicely, kindly. He's not going to throw. And she kind of looks at him and then sees he's there. So she's going to move and get out of the way. And she moves and proceeds to the disc golf basket so that she can use the disc golf basket to put her phone in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you ever had any things like that on the course when you've been out there? Any funny stories like that?
Well, the first time that I ever saw a basket, I was in somewhere in Ontario. I was playing a soccer match, and there was a basket behind me, and I didn't know what it was, right? So I looked over, and I was thinking, what could this thing be? So I walked over, and I did like a full circle around it, and I was like, oh, it's probably a horse feeder, right? So I went back, and I was like, I see the chains. They probably put the hay underneath, and they, I don't know, tie their horse into one of the chains, and because it has so many of them, you can put a bunch of different horses in there, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think anything of it. And then years later, when I came to BC, I was playing disc golf on Salt Spring Island, and somebody said like, oh, you don't supposed to play disc golf with the tunnel. There's a basket. And I was like, basket? What's a basket? Right. They're like, oh, you got to go to Nanaimo. That was the closest basket that we had. And when I saw the thing for the first time, I was like, no, that's a horse feeder. They're like, no, man, that's a basket. So I can see how the lady thought that it was the perfect tripod for her phone, right?
Yes.
That's awesome. And it makes so much sense when you say that, because I can see how you would think that would be a horse feeder. It looks exactly like what I would think a horse feeder would be like.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? So for Prodigy, Dynamic, MVP, everyone making discs, that's another market, an untapped market that they could do. You can give Miguel credit when you start selling them to people with horses.
You get a double use right there, right?
There you go.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that kind of leads us right into the way we like to start our interviews, Miguel, and that's with kind of get a background on how you got into disc golf. But what we don't like to do on the show is we don't like to just say, tell us how you got into disc golf. So I've created these kind of superhero type origin stories, one, to make it interesting, two, to give you time to think. So
perfect.
Here's the one I've crafted for you.
Let's see it. Let's hear it.
All right. Maybe you were born on another planet, a planet named Discon. Unfortunately, a cataclysmic event happened and your planet was destroyed. But your quick-thinking family got you to Earth before that disaster struck. You found that you liked the sun. You liked the sun a lot. Not only did it help you develop your great physique, it turned you into a super disc golfer, and you've been throwing faster than a speeding bullet ever since. Now, Miguel, I'm pretty sure I've got your origin story close with this one, but why don't you tell us how you really got into disc golf?
So I lived on Salt Spring Island for, I think, over 8 years, and there's not many things to do over there. And there was something that everybody was talking about, which it was frisbee golf, pro disc golf, however you call it. And I don't know, it wasn't really something that I liked, but it was something that everybody does on the weekends, and that you can go over there and have a few drinks or whatever you like at the course. And my partner at that time, she was really into disc golf, and she keeps dragging me onto the course, and I don't know, I wasn't really feeling it, right? I wasn't sure. what to do there, especially because she was thrown way farther than me and she was way better than me. And one day, one of the old school players from there saw me playing by myself. And he was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, just I don't know, throwing frisbees." He's like, "Well, there's this game that happens every Thursday at one of the private courses that we have on Salt Spring." I was like, "A private course? What do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, there's like over 12 private courses, and every Thursday we hang out and we play at this one. All the locals come and play." He's like, "Do you have any money?" I was like, "Yeah, I got a few bucks." He's like, "Oh, perfect, you're in. Just come over." Basically, all they wanted, it was me to donate money, right?
Right.
But I come from a sports background, and I'm very competitive. So I was like, I went in there and I saw them playing, and I was like, "Oh, I think I can compete." But no, I couldn't. I was just donating my money, and I liked it. I was like, "Oh, I think I can be better. I can do this."
Yeah.
And some of the older guys started teaching me how to grab the disc, what are you supposed to do, and all these things, or how to play smarter more than anything. And next thing I know, I was hooked. As soon as I got my first ace, which I didn't think that was possible, by the way, I was like, "Oh my God, let's do it."
That's awesome. How long did it take you to get your first ace?
Quite a bit. I think it was over a year, but the cool part is that on Salt Spring, most of the courses were short. So once I got my first one, I just started getting a bunch of them everywhere. And then I went to Pender, and it was like, yeah, I loved it. I was hooked. You know, that little rush of adrenaline you get.
No,
Oh, you do, yeah.
I don't know that feeling. Jeremy knows that feeling. I've never
Oh,
had it.
well,
I've
it's
never
coming.
had an ace yet.
It's
but
coming,
It's
yeah.
coming. It's coming.
I can imagine.
Well, Daryl, you've had the almost feeling because you've hit some chains off a drive, haven't you?
Yeah, I've hit chains. Yeah, that's closest. You know, it's that moment where your heart rises and your stomach sinks, and you think it's going in, and then
It's
for me
not.
it didn't go in. But yeah, I can imagine that it's you know, a great feeling. And I'm just now just to cut away just slightly here, Jeremy. I think every guest that we've had on, I think, has mentioned how they've gotten their ace. Maybe apart from Tristan. I don't think Tristan had an ace, but it seems like Zoe had an ace. It's like Tim Plamondon is up to like 26 aces now. So yeah, I just need to keep playing a bit more, and then maybe I'll get to your level, Miguel.
Yeah, just
Thanks.
keep throwing.
You just have to keep throwing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did you find, Miguel, too, as you got better, did those guys still be as kind to you, or they said, hey, maybe, you know, if you need to miss this week, Miguel, that's okay, because did you start taking their money back?
Yeah.
I did at some point start taking their money back, but the funny part is that I got so competitive that I wanted to be better. And at that point, we had the highest rated player in Canada, which was Matt Dixon from Nanaimo.
Okay.
And I was told that if I wanted to be good, that was the kid to beat. And well, you guys heard of the legend Dave Ross, right?
Yes.
And he's like, that kid is the only person that can have a good battle with Dave Ross. He makes him nervous. So I was like, oh, wow, well, okay, I'm going to move to Nanaimo and see what I can do.
Yeah.
And so I left Salt Spring Island and I moved to Nanaimo to be better at disc golf.
Wow.
And I started hanging out with this kid, and he was a kid. He was like 17, 18 years old. And yeah, I just got progressively better. And when I felt like I reached my peak over there, I moved to Vancouver because that's where all the best players were at that point too. So I just keep transitioning.
So
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's interesting. Hey, Daryl, is that I would like that. Is like, where am I going to live next? Well, where's the next best disc golf place to live, right?
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, that I think, you know, not knocking anybody else that we've had on the podcast, but I think that is like one of the best origin stories that I've ever heard. Where, you know,
Yeah.
that is I could see that as a movie. You know,
Yeah.
you started playing with the local group, and then you outgrew that group, and you wanted to get better, so you moved to the next town over, and you started to rise to the top of that group. And where else are you gonna go? You moved to the next big city, and here you are. Next thing you know, you're playing MPO, and yeah, that's awesome.
Well, maybe that's a great segue for us too, Daryl's. We can roll right into your MPO playing, Miguel. And it looks like from what we did, because of course we tried to do our research, so we were checking out PDGA, and you had started by going up to Whistler and playing in the Nationals at the MA1 level. So when did that happen, and how did you get there?
So it was my Salt Spring friends that got me hooked. Actually, I remember the first time I went to play a tournament, it was in Langley, Passive Park. And I went in there and I met this awesome player. Her name is Leanne Fulton, and she's also she was very involved with disc golf over here to making it grow. And she kicked my ass that year at that tournament. And I was like, how is that possible? I shouldn't be losing to her. Like, she's good, but like, I think I can beat her. And she did it twice, by the way. And then after that, I was like, oh, what do I need to do? My friends told me, like, well, if you want to be better, you have to go to more tournaments. And I was like, where's the next tournament? And they're like, oh, it's going to be at Whistler. You got to come and play it. And yeah, we went over there, play over there, and I loved it. I liked how the courses over here change from one to the next one, like on the cities and everything. Everybody has a totally different terrain.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, next thing I know, I was looking for all the tournaments that I could.
Yeah.
Well, let's not stop there. I know you're probably being humble, but what happened in Whistler at the Nationals when you went in as MA1?
I don't quite remember.
I was gonna say, did you possibly win?
I might have been very close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have come up with a W there, and I just like I said, I'm very competitive, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I just wanted to keep getting better and play another one or as many tournaments as I could.
Well, and it was getting that win in MA1 at the Nationals. Was that what kind of said, okay, I'm ready for MPO? Is that when you made
No,
that transition, or?
no. I think for me it was when I won it was provincials.
I'm
Actually,
sorry,
it
you're right.
wasn't
It was
nationals. It
provincials.
was
It wasn't
provincials.
nationals. It was provincials. Yeah.
And it was provincials, and then after that, like everybody, well, I don't know how they do it where you guys are, but over here, as soon as you win a tournament, everybody starts calling you a sandbagger.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we
And
don't know. We've heard it, but we haven't participated in it.
Yeah.
was coming, guys, it's coming. Yeah, and everybody just kept giving me a hard time every time they could, right? And they told me that if I wanted to be good, I just had to move up. So I went to Worlds in 2015, and I think that's what everything changed.
Yeah.
I saw AB for the first time throwing
Okay.
360s uphill and throwing like 400 feet, a mini or 350 feet. And I was like, how is that possible? I can't even throw my disc 300 feet, and he's throwing a mini that far.
Yeah.
And I saw Paul Macbeth carrying his backpack. And I was like, oh my God, I want to get to that level, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that experience really humbled me. And I just came back and I was like, I gotta, if I want to do this, I just have to go full on and be 100% dedicated to this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that Am Worlds experience, that sounds like something that, Daryl and I have gotten into disc golf a little bit later, kind of that COVID type disc golfer, but we're already eyeing up is that Am Masters Worlds is
nice.
in Minnesota next year. So I'm really trying to convince Daryl. I'm like, Daryl, Preserve's only a quick drive away from there. We could check that out.
That'd be so nice.
Yeah.
Let me know if you guys need a caddy.
We
be
definitely take you up on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. So then too, with the other thing was I wanted to get into last year's play for you, like, because you've been developing over these years and getting better and better each year. And then last year, like, you had so many top 10 finishes, you had 6 second place finishes. Like, are you kind of feel like you're still peaking? Like, was that one of your best years, or?
I think every year I've been getting better and better. Last year was my best year for sure. I feel like I'm not quite at my peak yet. It's yet to come. There's always room for improvement, right?
Yes.
And I learned a lot of lessons last year. I think the hardest thing to do is to be on the lead and maintain that lead and then end up winning the tournament. I think it's really hard. There's only a few people from Canada that are able to do that. But like I said, I'm still learning. I'm very thankful for last year's, and I can't wait to see what this year has for me.
Yeah. Speaking of last year, you know you played the 3 events on the Canadian Disc Golf Tour last year. That was good enough to get you 14th on the tour.
Yeah.
How did you feel like that overall season went for the Disc Golf Tour there?
I think it started really slow for me. Unfortunately, I had a job. I had a job that doesn't allow me to play disc golf. I had to lie every time I went to play disc golf,
Oh
Oh,
no.
and that kind of hurts your disc golf game because I couldn't post anything about it. I couldn't. If I
right.
hurt myself, I had to hide it, or they will send me to do certain jobs that put my shoulder at risk or my right arm
Oh
arm
no.
at risk. That I was
Yeah.
like
Mm.
very I had to be very subtle
Yeah.
that way, and until someone came into my life and they're like, well, if you really like disc golf, what's stopping you? And I was like, work. And they're like, no, what's stopping you? I was like, I guess it's me. And they're like, well, why don't you give it a try? And I was like, you know what, maybe. So I quit my job. Well, I took an absence, and I was
Yeah.
like, well, let's try this disc golf thing a little bit more. And well, as you guys saw it, I was able to finish 6 times in second place, and that gave me
Hmm.
the fire that I needed to be like, you know what, let's go do it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good. Sometimes you need that person to come into your life and just ask you the right question, right? Because you could sit there and go, "I just can't do this," and then someone says, "Well, why can't you?" Right? So no, that's great. And so this year we're excited because we're waiting for the Park Pro Boys to announce the Canadian Disc Golf Tour for this year. We've been in
Hmm.
contact with them and sending them messages and that, and they said they're getting really close.
Nice.
And from what we understand, well, what we do know is we talked to Carrie Neal, and Tournament Capital Open will definitely be part of it. She
Big part
says
of that,
she's
right?
already agreed.
Yeah.
She's signed all the paperwork. That's going to be one of the events, and I think maybe Foxwood is going to open it up. That's speculation on Daryl and my part.
Hmm.
But TCO was one of those events, like I mentioned at the beginning, that I actually got to be at as well as you. And that was your first one on the tour.
Hmm.
When we looked at it, it looked like, you started out with a -2 for the round one. You hit a pretty nice hot -6 that second round, and then kind of
And
finished
then I
with a
lost it.
+1. And but yeah, like it looked like it was a decent tournament. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience there?
It was a lot of fun. I think my problem is that I'm having too much fun that I forget to have that competitiveness,
Right.
right? Like I'm so excited to be there with all the guys and meeting new people and throwing some frisbee. I'm not at work, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, it's so hard. And I forget to keep that competitiveness through the entire tournament.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Speaking of that coverage on Park Pro, there you were on the lead card coverage that Park Pro put out there.
Mm.
One thing that I noticed, and I haven't seen you play live or anything like that, so I don't know if this is a thing that you do on every basket and every hole. But what I noticed there was that when you tap your putt in, you kind of tap the basket there.
Yeah.
Is that a
So
thing that is what you're known for?
yeah, so I don't know if I'm known for that. I'm trying to close a cycle. Like I don't know if I'm ever coming back to that basket or
Right.
there's no hard feelings or anything. Sometimes they stick, sometimes they don't. So
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
me doing that, it's like, okay, well, until next time kind of
Good
thing,
job. Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Oh,
awesome.
that's positive. Yeah. And you're right. It shines through because that first round coverage, like you could see it, whether it was that coverage or Falcon's Flight, it seems like you've got a smile on your face the entire time you're playing
thank,
is what it is. And that's so motivating.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like I said, you're doing something that you love. Well, I'm doing something that I love
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I care about. So why let everything else just ruin that moment? I'm very present, and like I said, I'm super happy to be there. And I feel like if everybody is able to elevate themselves and play good, I play good. So I just want everybody to be happy, so we can all feed off that energy and just continue to play our best.
Do you
Yeah.
normally find that? Have you found that in most tournaments that you play, that the cards that you've been on, that you your card mates have been that? Because I know when me and Jeremy play, we're in a different division. We're in the MA40 division. There's not a lot riding on our games, so our card mates tend to be a bit more relaxed. We tend to have a lot more fun. There's always on most tournaments that we play, there's like a dad joke limit that we have to hit,
Nice.
things like that. So we're out there
I
having
love that.
fun.
Oh, I can't
But
wait.
obviously, yeah. But obviously, you're playing MPO, right? You're playing for cash. There's a lot more riding on the line. Are your card mates receptive to
Yeah.
your positive energy?
Not everybody. There's some people who have told me before, like, can you please stop with the positivity? Like,
Oh,
enough.
really?
Yeah,
That
just
sounds
enough.
like a them problem, not a you problem. I
Yeah,
think.
so it's like, okay, well, I'm just not gonna say good shot to you, but I'm still gonna try to stay happy with my things, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, you just limit your conversations with those guys, or I still try to be positive or try to tell them like, hey, but you had a good snap or a good release, or
Hmm.
you know, or this time it's still you got into the chains or you were very close. And yeah, if I notice that they're really struggling or they're really hating me for saying all that, I just move away from that situation.
Yeah.
But there's nothing you can do there, right? It's up to them.
Yeah.
Well, and Daryl and I have said it a number of times where really to us, disc golf is such an individual sport that you're participating in with other people, right? But you're really competing against yourself. You're putting your
Exactly.
best game out there against someone else's best game. And to me, why not have a positive card where everybody is supporting each other for that true competition rather
Exactly.
than people getting into the head games and, watch your foot there or something like that. Like nobody needs that.
Yeah. No, honestly, I feel like I'm playing against the course. It's what I think I can do against the course. What you do doesn't really affect me. I want you to do your best. Why? Because I can feed off of that energy, right? And just continue to try and do better. But yeah, it's just me against the course basically to try and do the things that I know I'm capable of doing, right?
Yeah. Well, and when you do that too, Miguel, especially at a tournament like TCO, you end up on a course like Rose Hill. And for me, that was one of the few really big, kind of famous courses for Canadian courses that I've been to. And I was pretty much just in awe with some of the views and some of the death putts and all those things. It's just, like you said, is that positivity. The course can give you that too. Just take it all in at the same time.
Exactly. You take it when you can.
Yeah, definitely. So then the second CDGT or Canadian Disc Golf Tour event you played in last year was the BC Open,
Yeah.
and you were able to still finish in the money, which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit how that course or how that tournament and course went for you.
That was a slow start from what I can remember. I played really like I said, I didn't play against the course the way I know I can play.
Right.
Um, so that was a little bit of a letdown. But if I focus on the good things, I was able to play with one of my good friends. His name is Gilbert, and I was
Okay.
looking forward to playing with him. And we feed off each other that day. I was able to shoot a hot round, but my hot round wasn't enough to beat the guy. He shot an even hotter round, and he was like that. Like what I was saying, that if I'm happy and the other person is happy, we're both feeding off each other, and we were able to capitalize on that. And
Right.
then, yeah, we had a decent finish.
Yeah, no, you did, and you're right. Like I think I had saw that's you had the second round was like a -10
Yeah.
at Raptors. Like,
Hmm.
come on.
And the other guy shoots at -12. There's nothing you can do, right? Like, other than be happy for him.
Yes. Well, last week, Daryl, we had Zoe Lorenz Bozer is a local
Cool.
Edmonton
Yeah.
player that we have, an FPO player, and she had gone down to Raptors to play in the university, so like the college disc
Oh,
golf
yeah.
qualifier. Yeah, so
Yeah.
the University of Alberta put in their first team, and she was down there. And she said, she watched the coverage that they put on Park Pro and watched Casey throwing and everybody else, and said, "Oh, okay, yeah, this course it looks okay. I think I can do this." And then when she showed up, she realized just what that skill level you and the other MPOs have, because she said it was a really tough round.
Yeah, it can get crazy over there.
And I
Yeah.
think she said that they were playing off the gold. It's the gold tees?
Yes, they
Yeah.
were.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were playing
Those
off
are
the gold tees. So I think she went
difficult.
out there for a practice round, and it was so different playing off the red tees. She was able to make some jump putts off some of the holes, but it was
Yeah.
so different playing off the gold tees. I think she said, what is it, out of like 36 holes or 4 rounds, something, that they had one
Wow.
birdie between them,
Yes. Yeah.
which is
Wow.
pretty tough to get out there. So yeah, -10 is nothing to be sniffed at. Yeah.
So now, do you get out to Raptors Knoll a lot, being that
Yeah.
it's in your area? Yeah.
Yeah. Every weekend, or at least, yeah, once a week for sure.
Yeah. And then how do you find the course? Are you kind of getting used to it? Is it something you've settled into, or?
Yeah. Like, I feel like a minus 13, 14. It's there. It's doable.
Okay.
I think somebody's gonna shoot it this year at the BC Open. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, I don't know. It's different every day. Some days are better than others. I think with disc golf, it's whatever you have in your mind sometimes can affect your performance. And so I try to go over there as therapy, relaxing therapy,
Yeah.
right? The problem with Raptors is because it's such a good course that everybody wants to go play. So if you go on a weekend, you're gonna end up having to wait in every tee pad.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Jeremy and I have never played it, but do you have a favorite hole out there?
Oh, you guys haven't played it. If you guys come here, let me know, please. I would like to take you guys out there.
Absolutely.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold for
Yeah, please do. My favorite hole, I think it has to be hole 4. It's
Okay.
just like a gentle turnover, and I have a disc that likes to do that every time.
that.
It's well, if you're playing MPO, it's a must get. And I've been close a couple of times. I just haven't been able to get an ace there. But yeah, hole 4.
Nice. All right, well, we'll have to watch back because I can picture some of the holes. Like I picture the
Yeah.
hole 1 with the big
Yeah.
silo that's in
Silo.
the middle there, and
Yeah.
then I can picture that hole that's kind of through the woods and then up high onto the ridge. But
Yeah,
but
that's hole 3. So it's the hole right after that.
okay, I'll remember for that when I check through the coverage.
Well, moving
Daryl,
on.
move us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
moving on from that, the third tournament that you played as part of the CGT was obviously Falcon's Flight.
My favorite.
And, yeah, so you did really well in that tournament, and you did well in that tournament 2 years in a row because you ended up finishing second in 2022 and 2023.
Yeah.
And you started out with another hot round for your first round, shooting a -7.
I was just having fun. I honestly didn't know I was shooting the hot round. I actually felt like somebody else in my group was shooting the hot round. It's tough, that some days the course gives everything to you, and some days like it takes it all away.
Yeah.
I think I like how, well, I'm from BC, right? But when I go over there, I also feel like I'm at home. Everybody's so welcoming and friendly. It's catching up with old friends. I'm sure you guys understand that.
Yes.
So I feed off of all that, and I'm super happy to be there so I can reflect on my game sometimes, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. And
Well,
then,
we had seen like Falcon's Flight is definitely on Daryl's and my list for today, but from what we or for this year, but what we understand is that you pretty much have to be on disc golf scene with your finger on the button as soon as
Yes.
registration
Yes.
opens. Otherwise, you're
Yes.
not getting in.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's the case for every tournament nowadays. Like there's so much demand that everybody wants to be a part of, and yeah, you gotta be right on it. If you can already have it all fill,
Yeah.
right? So you just have to click the button and boom, off you go.
that's
And
it.
then you're good. Well,
Yeah.
and that was like I literally just finished watching the Parked Pro coverage because they had put it out not that long ago,
Yeah.
and I had messaged you. I'm like, don't tell me how it ends because I didn't look ahead because I didn't
Yeah.
want to know. But yeah, it was so exciting to watch you and Ben kind of battle there
Yeah.
through rounds 2 and round 3. But as you said, like it looked like Ben, and even he was doing the commentating on the Parked Pro, is that the two of you just seem to be like, are you guys good friends? Because it felt like that just watching the way you guys were playing.
Yeah, he's been around in the disc golf community longer than I have, and I definitely heard his name before I moved up to pro.
Right.
And then I met the guy in BC a few times here and there, but like going there every year, I don't know, he's a very genuine person, right? And very easy to talk to, and I don't know, I got along with the guy really easily to the point where I don't know. Well, you watched the video. There's a part where we're like wrestling there, so we've done that 2 years in a row, right? And last year I told him like we gotta wrestle because that's the only way I'm gonna be able to beat you this time. I'm not gonna beat you on the course playing disc golf, but I'm gonna beat you when we're wrestling. So we kind of, I don't know, we got 40 minutes to wait, so that was perfect.
Well, they definitely showed a snapshot, and what I remember, and I'm sorry, Ben, this is what I saw Miguel on
I
top
got
for the
it.
3 count.
That's right.
So you took him down on the course that way, hey?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, and watching that, like, it looks like you both were playing well. Like it just was a matter of he just played just a little bit better, I think. Like you were right there the entire time.
I think it was hole, what's that? Hole 3, 4. It was like hole 5 or 6 where he got me. Like as soon as he got a birdie and I got a bogey, I was like, that's it. This is the hole that I needed. And after that, I just kept fighting. But the guy knows his course, right? Like I think it's either, well, everybody thinks that it's either going to be Ben or it's going to be Casey who wins, right? Because those guys play there a lot. So to
Right.
me, to go there and play once a year and be able to compete, I'm happy.
Yes.
Finishing second 2 years in a row, do you think this is one? Do you look at this tournament as like, okay, I'm only one step away. This is the year. Is that like a tournament that got away from you, sort of thing, or?
No, I don't see it like that. There's a lot of things that I can learn from every tournament. I see it as I was there, I was able to compete. What I brought up to the table, it would have been good years ago, but unfortunately, the disc golf level just keeps getting better and better, right?
Yeah.
And maybe I fell a little bit short in a couple of things, and I finished second. I'm happy.
Absolutely.
This is gonna sound bad, and I'm sorry, Casey, but I was there, and I just wanted to beat Casey, and I did it, right? Unfortunately, I didn't win, but I beat my goal, you know?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't think you should feel bad because Daryl and I would say, yeah, we want to beat Casey too. It's not going to likely happen, but
Yeah, no, it's tough. Like I can count it in my hands how many times I beat Casey, and yeah, it feels
Well,
really good.
I think, as you said, is that some people, like as you get going and what you're working on too, is that really knowing how to close out that tournament when you've got a lead. It
Yeah.
feels that that's when, like Casey's one of those guys that it seems like when he's got that lead, good luck trying to catch him. He's going to start sinking putts
Exactly.
from 50, 60 feet out, and he's already sinking them, but he's not going to miss them at that point.
Exactly. So, I mean, I like that, you know. He brings me to another level, and that's what what I'm all about when I go play disc golf.
Yeah. Well, now with Falcon's Flight, looking at that course on the footage, it looks tight on the footage. Is it even tighter? Is that like, to me, I'm a little nervous about going down there.
You have to be very aggressive, well, especially if you want to win it. But the problem over there is if you try too hard and you clip the tree, it can ricochet into the middle of the fairway, or it can go 100 feet into the trees. And I don't understand how it can travel 100 feet through those trees. But when you get in there and you try to get out, it's impossible to even move 10 feet forward.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes you just, I don't know, it is tight, but it's fair.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. What do we got next here, Daryl?
So, you know, like we were just talking about the woods and the tight fairways on that course there. Is there a certain course that you like to play more than others? Are you like a golf course, like a park style player? Do you prefer the woods? What do you think your strongest part of your
No,
game is?
I mean, I don't know. It all depends how I'm feeling. Last year I was able to play Clearwater, and it reminded me of Falcon's Flight, of one of the courses. It's kind of tight and all that, and then we had the golf course as well, which was like nice and open.
Yeah.
So it was a good course. But to answer your question, I don't think I have a favorite style.
Just whichever course you're playing good on at the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I just like learning a little bit of the course and pushing myself to be better every time.
And is there anything specific that you're working on for 2024 in your game? Is there a part that you're putting more attention on when you're practicing?
I'm actually practicing. That's the big difference. You know,
Okay.
like
So you were this
last
good
year,
and you don't practice?
I'm sorry, this is really bad, but I don't practice. It was, yeah, I mean, the most I got last year was to be able to putt a little bit
Yeah.
more. I have like a portable disc catcher, the ones that looks like an umbrella.
Yes.
And yeah, so I was able to putt a little bit more last year. But other than that, no time for practice. Work was like taking everything out of me. And like I said, I'm not allowed to say that I play disc golf or anything like that. Or I wasn't allowed to say that I play disc golf or anything like that. So yeah, if you're not, I just had to work, and then when I had free time, it was like, oh, it's time to go to the tournament, right? So yeah, that was funny, but no, there was no practice. And this year, I'm trying to make time, even to go pod at least 3 times a week or something like that, or do some field work and record myself. You know, there's ways to improve a little bit more.
And you mentioned about what you're going to be doing this year. Looking forward to this year. Do you have your tournament schedule kind of mapped out? Do you know where it's going to go?
Oof. Well, I've been checking into a bunch of different options. I am signed up to a lot of tournaments in BC. I definitely want to go to nationals this year. Falcons Flight is a must. The TCO, British Columbia, the BC Open. And I'm thinking on going to play in Europe this year.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a big goal of mine to go over there. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I started my season in Mexico.
Yeah.
It didn't go so well. I wasn't really prepared for that one, but that just like lit the fire within my belly to go travel a little bit more and play some more disc golf.
Anywhere in particular in Europe, or you maybe travel through a lot of the
I
regions?
think I'm just checking to make sure that whatever tournament I end up going, it doesn't align with a different tournament that I want to do over here. So I'm just trying to. There's other pro players from BC that are in Europe right now, so we're trying to communicate between the three of us to make sure we can all go to this one. So I couldn't tell you for sure yet.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I know when I see kind of posts online and that about some of the courses and some of the places to play in Europe, it's pretty interesting. Like I saw, maybe you guys have seen it, but there's that one place where you can play 100 holes consecutively by walking around the cities. Like you walk 26 kilometers or something, and you do 100 holes.
That's crazy. Imagine playing a tournament there.
Oh yeah, that was a tournament. I think just getting through it was a win if you did that.
Yeah, finishing
like a three or a 4 round tournament in one day.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, Miguel, you go ahead, Daryl.
No, go ahead, Jeremy.
I was gonna say you did mention the Mexico Disc Golf Championships, and we don't like. I know from Mexico from going on vacation, that type of thing, but I've never seen a disc golf course around. But for them to have have their own championship tournament, how was it, and is it growing? Like, tell us all about Mexican disc golf.
Okay, so it's huge right now in Mexico. There is a lot of people who play Ultimate, and just like you guys were mentioning, there was a lot of COVID players from Ultimate that didn't have anything to do, and they started playing disc golf, or they will. Actually, I heard 2 different stories. I heard people who were at the course waiting for his friends to show up so they can throw their frisbees, and they saw this American guy throwing discs, and they're like very interested to see what's going on and the shape and everything. So they went and asked the guy. He's like, "Oh, we just we have a basket, and we just come here to practice." And the guys are like, "Oh, we want to play," but it was like 15 of them that wanted to play. He's like, "Oh, okay, well, let me see what I can do." And then the Mexican godfather of disc golf, his name is Rene El Loco Espinosa.
Okay.
He used to live in U.S. and he went back to Mexico, and he already had a couple of American friends over there, and they all got together and started working with the city of Guadalajara to create a disc golf course. And the city gave them a designated area and a little bit of money to create the course, and that's how it began a big thing. It was in Guadalajara, and then it just started expanding from there. There's a lot of expats that live in Mexico that played disc golf before, and they were like, "Oh, well, we'd like to continue with this." And it just became a big thing. And I wasn't aware of that, by the way. I just discovered disc golf in Mexico last year.
Okay.
And I got a message from one of the guys who runs the tournaments over there, he was like, "Hey, you're Mexican, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "Well, we're about to have our first Mexican 8 here, and we'd like to invite you over and bring some friends." I was like, "Oh, cool, I'll see you there." And he's like, "Yeah, sure." I'm like, "No, I'll see you there, and I'll make sure I bring some people with me." So I talked to as many friends as I could, and I ended up having 6 people coming with me over there, and we had a blast. We loved it. And then from there, you guys know how the disc golf community works. You meet a friend, and they're like, "Where are you going next?" "Oh, I'm going to this place." "Oh, we have a friend that plays over there. You should go meet this guy. He has a
Yes.
course." And next thing I know, I think I played in 4 different courses in Mexico. I played one by the beach, like seriously, right beside the beach,
Oh,
and
nice.
amazing. And then I played 2 courses in Guadalajara, and they have 2 courses in San Luis Potosí,
Okay.
which is where we played the Mexican Open. And then after that, I was just told that Mexico has at least 10 courses right now, which to me
That's
that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
great. Yeah, my
Yeah.
parents actually they spend the winter in Nuevo Vallarta in Puerto
Oh, nice.
Vallarta, and
Oh,
I
so
just
that's where the
was
course is.
looking. I think there's a course there, isn't there now at Puerto Vallarta?
Yes, and there's also a private course, which is the one that I'm talking to. The local course
Oh,
is small,
yeah.
but there's a course half an hour, 45 minutes away from there. If you're ever going over there, I can give you the guy's number. Very nice and very welcoming.
Okay.
He has a course in the middle of the jungle.
Ooh.
That's,
So you
that's
make
taking
sure.
it to the next level. You got the golf courses, you got the wooded courses, and now you got a jungle course.
A jungle course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we think we go into the rough here, but I bet you going into the rough there is a little bit more difficult.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You might see a couple big snakes over there.
They could have my disc there. I'll just pull
Yeah.
out another disc out of the
I'll
bag.
just leave it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm donating that one to the jungle.
Yeah. Well,
So
bringing it back to the Mexican disc golf championships, there, you said that you mentioned him earlier. Your good friend Nick Culver.
Hmm.
Obviously, he was there this year.
Yeah, he was there
You know,
this year.
and tell for the people that don't know and didn't watch the coverage. You said that your game wasn't. You didn't
No.
have the greatest of games, but
Yeah.
I did notice that you were there on the 18th. So yeah, give us a rundown on what happened at
Count it.
the championship
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
So unfortunately, well, now that I'm done with all that, I'm able to see that I wasn't able to perform because there was a bunch of different things that happened. I got sponsored by this Mania, and I brought my original back with me. So when they told me that I was sponsored, I was already in Mexico, and I only had uh, a handful of this Mania discs. So I had to ask people or Canadian friends that were going over to bring me whatever discs they had, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they brought the discs over, and we were playing at almost 7,000 feet up, right? Like
Okay.
it's quite high, so your discs
yeah,
don't quite fly the same way that they do over here in Vancouver, which is like sea level.
Yeah.
yes,
Uh, and I had a little bit of trouble with that, and then well, having to cater to 6 people and translate and accommodate, and everybody's so different that you have to like cater specifically to all their needs and help them as much as I can, which I love the experience, right?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to deliver on my disc golf part of it. But it made me so happy to see that one of us was able to fight for it. Well, not just one of us. I think we had 3 people that took home a trophy.
okay,
One person on FA2, Daryl Watson on MP40, and Nick Culver at MPO, and he was able to take the win away from Kevin Jones, which is
Yeah.
like no joke, right?
Great
And
yeah,
achievement. Yeah.
not at all.
yeah, 2 years in a row too, and the way it went down, it was Nick Culver had the lead going into the final round, and then Kevin Jones just brought it. Of course, it's
Yeah.
Kevin Jones, and then Nick was able to come back, tie up on the hole 17, hitting a big putt. He actually big putted Kevin on hole
Wow.
17.
Yeah.
And you can tell that he was ready. I knew just by looking at my friend that he was gonna hit it, right?
Yeah.
I got over. I picked up his bag. I didn't say anything. Actually, I asked him before we started playing if if he was in a situation where he made it into the playoff, how would he feel if I picked up his back, right? Because not everybody likes it.
Right.
And he said he was okay. He's like, I'm okay with that. Just don't say too many things. I was like, don't worry, I'm just gonna carry your back and I'll stay silent. If you need me to smile, I will smile. If you need me to cry, I'll cry, right? And he just laughs. And he hits that, so I'm trying to stay calm because I'm super excited. He just hit a big putt on hole 17. He looks at me, I give him a half a smile. We walked into the next tee pad. He looks at me and he was like, I'm gonna go win this. I'm like, yeah, this is your tournament to win. So we go to hole 17, hole 18. He throws the drive into the middle of the fairway. Kevin Jones throws an amazing drive onto one side. And I'm like, okay, man, you know what you gotta do. Just put it under the basket and make him putt it. And unfortunately, they both end up parring that hole. And we thought it was gonna be a sudden death. And we go to the they moved us to a different course actually for them to play in a way that everybody will have a better chance to look at all the holes.
Right.
And the way it works this year, I think, is you have 4 holes, and it's not a sudden death. You carry all those holes, and after those 4 holes, if you're still tied up, you go into sudden death. Right?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm saying we, as like Nick and I, we felt like he was being robbed at that moment. We're like, no, why? Like, it should be sudden death.
Yeah.
And then he gets into that first hole and he hits a couple of trees, and we're like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, maybe it's a good thing, right? So he pushes that. He's down 1, and then we go to the next hole, and he ties it up on the next hole. We go to the 3rd hole, and then Nick throws an amazing drive and puts it right under the basket. And I'm like, oh, that's going to make Kevin Jones nervous.
Yeah.
Not a chance. Kevin Jones just goes and puts it right there, too. And I'm like, holy crap, Nick. And I look at Nick, and I'm like, hey, take an extra big, deep breath and just take another one, please, and relax. And he's like, okay, what are we going to do? I was like, you play your game. Don't worry about Kevin. And Nick throws it in bounds on hole 18. And Kevin Jones goes for the craziest shot I've ever seen in my life. It was like a 500 feet carry to the left, and the guy goes OB.
Right.
Oh.
And my friend Nick is like, okay, well, I'm just going to go for the basket. I'm like, no, man, calm down. He's OB. He needs to tie this hole. I was like, Nick, if you play it for a par and you put it right here and then right under the basket, put the pressure on him. And he's like, well, if there's a guy that can win this, that can hit those crazy shots, it'll be Kevin Jones. I was like, yeah, but he still has to do it. And
Yes.
I can tell that the guy is nervous. He's at this point, he's not talking to anybody anymore. He's like so serious, and like, I was like, dude, just focus about your game, do your thing, and let the guy do his thing. And he played it to perfection. He just threw a nice easy up shot underneath. And I looked at him and I was like, you just won. And he's like, why? I was like, he's not gonna hit this. I mean, I like Kevin Jones, don't get me wrong, but I like my homie more, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
And Kevin Jones, I think he was very close to hitting the putt.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest is history. I just ran over and just lifted my friend, and I was like, congratulations. That was his first 8-year win too.
Awesome.
So it meant a lot.
Yeah. And against like top level, like he's up there too, but you know,
Absolutely.
now you guys are right at the top when you're playing in that MPO field.
Yeah, that was crazy. And something that I really liked is that Paul Ullman and Humphreys, they came and carried Kevin Jones back, and they were telling him, and they were being strategic. And it was really cool to see that side of him.
Okay.
And even better that my friend came on top.
That's right. So we know when you offered to caddy, I know who I want on my bag. Hey
Hey,
there,
I
Dale.
got you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm the lucky charm.
The master tactician.
So now that you've been down to that tournament, is that going to be kind of an annual thing for you? Will you go back next year?
No, actually, well, I would love to go back next year, but I was thinking that I want to go to a different warm place. Maybe Thailand?
Oh,
Samui?
yeah, Koh
That's the
Samui,
course
yeah.
I would like to play, yeah.
Seen some footage from some other players playing out there at the beginning of this year. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fun course. I've been there before, and I that's a tournament that it's in my bucket list.
Good stuff. Yeah, no, I like exactly. I think he's ever since Terry Miller started promoting it more and he's gotten more involved with it, I think it's just going to become that true destination place to go, right?
That'd be awesome. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. Well, Daryl's got some things queued up for us, Miguel,
Uh-oh.
because we wanted to move in just to talk about your sponsors, and you kind
Ooh,
of alluded to it. So this year you got sponsored by Discmania. So
yeah.
how has now you kind of gave us a little bit about it that you actually had to do your whole bag change. You didn't even have a chance to practice. You did it in the middle
Yeah.
of Mexico.
hmm that was a little bit crazy. Nice. Yeah, I had to do the combine, which so that's Avery Jenkins coming to your city and setting up this. So you play a disc golf round, and however you finish, they give you points, and then
Okay.
on top of that, you have to do this skills challenge. They make you throw from 100 feet up shots, and they have circle or bullseye, and then circle one, and they give you different points for however many makes you or however many times you stay within the circle.
Okay.
And anyway, so I went and competed on this. I finished. I believe I finished fourth, and then after that, top five get a chance to have an interview with Avery Jenkins and see why you want to be part of this mania. And like for me, coming from Salt Spring, we had these stories where Simon Lassot used to come and play, or like he came and played over there before with his uncle Peter. And this mania has been like one of those brands that I always wanted to be sponsored. I mean, all of us as disc golfers, well, I don't know about you guys, but I know that I wanted to be a sponsor player at some point.
Right.
And it's been a dream come true, right? Like to be sponsored by them. And not just them, to be sponsored by.
Yes, we have that too. Yeah. So also sponsored
Well,
by Cardinal Disc
well,
Golf,
That's
and then we see you're
correct.
sporting the jersey.
While we
That's
are
correct.
talking about Discmania, I just wanted
Okay.
to look at your page here a little bit more. So if you go to the Miguel Alvarado page on Discmania, at the bottom it has Miguel's favorite discs. Just wanted
Yeah.
to see if you wanted to talk about why you like these discs so much. Are they just great?
Well, okay, so I like the PD because it's so versatile. You're able to put it on different angles and it holds that line for you.
Yeah,
You can also, you know how sometimes if you had to pick a few discs to go play around, if you can pick 3 discs, which ones would
Hmm.
you pick? So it'll be definitely on my PD because I'm able to flick or backhand my PD.
yeah,
The MD3, well, it's a really good, reliable mid-range
yeah.
that I like. I don't know why they repeated that C line PD twice.
We got
And
C line FD and C line PD.
yeah, so I don't know. Those are my go-to discs. I had them for quite a bit now, and it never crossed my mind that I will ever get sponsored by this mania. And it
That's
was
it.
really cool that it worked out.
Yeah, and it was great. Thanks for sharing with us. I thought, you see at the end of the season, a lot of the disc golf companies will say, "Would you like to be sponsored? Do you think you could be part of our team? Fill out this application." And I thought maybe they filled out the application reviewed, but they gave you like a skills competition. They
hmm
gave you an interview. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
pretty thorough process.
yeah. You have to go through the entire process, and then at the end, so you have the interview with him, and then you have to go through a different interview. I guess they filter everybody there, and they want to see what you're bringing to the table, right? And
It's like a real
I
interview.
was, yeah, I was able to fit whatever they had in mind,
Yeah,
which I'm very thankful for. I think one of my part of my pitch was to well, coming from Mexico into Canada and playing disc golf or growing on Salt Spring Island and playing disc golf over there, I just wanted to show people that if you put the time and effort into something, you're able to conquer it, right? And
yeah,
that goes to everybody that is watching us right now. Like, you just stay put, keep practicing, doing your thing, and your time will come, right?
yeah.
For sure.
And
No, that's great
then
advice.
you did mention it there, so we'll give you the proper time to talk about it. You also are sponsored by Cardinal.
Cardinal!
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Look
I
at
love
that.
it.
You're right on brand. You're repping your own shirt right there. So
Of
yeah.
course.
How long have you been? How long had that sponsorship been going? And
Uh,
what do you,
this one just started too. It was at the same time as this mania. I actually went and I approached them, and I told them, you know, guys, I've been recording different tournaments I've been through. I think I can be a good promoter for your brand. Um, would you guys like to work with me? And they were very friendly and welcoming. They sit down and talk to me, and they were like, "Okay, what do you have in mind?" And this jersey was able to come up.
Yeah. And it looks good. Like it's got that flavor of a Mexican motif to it. And I
That's
like the
right.
colors. Yeah. No, it's awesome. So now everyone should know is that if you go to Cardinal Disc Golf and they purchase one of your jerseys, there is a
Yeah,
part that helps you with your tour and supports you, does it?
absolutely. Make sure you type in Miguel, and you get an additional discount. But every purchase of the jerseys, I get a percentage to help me be able to play the Canadian Tour or different tournaments that I want to attend this year.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do we miss anybody? Are there any other sponsors that you have on the go or?
I want to thank all my friends since they realized that I was sponsored by this mania. Everybody's been really nice and they've been bringing me discs to try and figure out my bag since the beginning. And I think today I can tell you that I'm finally ready, that I have the proper bag to play disc golf this year.
Good.
that's awesome. Yeah.
Have-
So.
Well, I was going to say there, Daryl, have you, so now that you're with Discmania, we know that Max Rajitnik is also part of the team as well. So have you guys started to connect together as teammates and started chatting at all or?
Yeah, I've tried to reach out to a few
Yeah.
people here and there, just to see what tournaments they're gonna play. You know, it's cheaper if you go with other people sometimes to rent a house or something like that instead of like staying in a small little pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's in US right now and doing other things. So I don't know. I feel like at some point we'll see each other during this year.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That'll be good.
You have anything else to add, Jeremy, before we move on?
Well, Daryl, I think we should just go right back to the beach and maybe take it to that point. What do you think?
I think you could be right. Yeah. So you kind of touched on it already, Miguel. You kind of jump in ahead of our show here, but I just want to play you a little intro, which will give you a bit of a rundown on what to expect, and then I'll elaborate in a second.
Now it's time for Desert Island Discs. Picture this. You've taken a relaxing cruise, however the ship goes down. You manage to swim to an island, and fortunately for you, there's an 18-hole disc golf course. Which 3 discs are you taking with you on the island?
Ooh,
So yeah,
easy.
you already touched on it there. That you talked about the 3 disc rounds and things like that. So typically in the past we've limited it to. Well, I say we've limited it to. I don't think we've ever really limited it, but it used to be if you could pick any 3 discs: a putter, a mid-range, or a driver. Which 3 are you taking with you? But you know that kind of format's gone out the window. So if you want 3 drivers, take 3 drivers.
No,
Yeah,
I
we
got
had-
3.
Yep.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Miguel. I was going to say, well, we had Tim Plamondon, who's the president of the Edmonton Disc Golf Association on. And as Daryl said, breaking the mold. He broke the mold when he said Firebird, Firebird. And then we thought he was going to say Firebird again, but he said Firefly. So those were his 3
Very close.
discs.
To me, it'll be a C-Line PD. I already told you guys why. It's very versatile. You can back in or flick. I'll take the MD3, which is a perfect mid-range. We can make it go straight, a couple little things. And my favorite disc right now is the P3X.
Oh,
It's my favorite putter.
That's a new disc, right?
It's a new disc, yeah. Why? Because it holds the line, it holds the torque. You can throw it as far as a driver, basically.
Yeah.
And I like the stability of it. I'm loving it actually right now. It's my
well,
favorite.
we're gonna have to check that one out. Hey, Daryl.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, we also. I was just thinking there, but we also had our FPO Alberta of FPO Terry Hong on recently as well, and obviously she's sponsored by Equin
Equin,
discs.
yeah.
So her when she picked her 3 discs, they were all Equin discs. So having you on sponsored by Discmania and getting all 3 discs from the same brand is, we not a lot of the people that we've interviewed in the past have been sponsored, right? So they're picking Castoplast, Dynamic
Different
discs, and Discraft, yeah. But it's kind of interesting to get to see the 3 discs that you like from the same manufacturer. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, and we can agree with you there too, Miguel, because both Daryl and I bag an MD3, and we've got some holes out here where we're like, I know if I throw that one straight or even close to straight, it'll finish just where I want it to finish. And yeah, it's a really nice disc.
Yeah, it has a nice gentle finish.
Yeah. Well, Miguel, that kind of brings us to the last of our questions, but we do want to give you a chance. So if there is any more things that you wanted to talk about or anything that we didn't cover, anything you wanted to shout out, this is your time.
Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you for having me here more than anything. I would like to give a shout out to all the people out there who gives you a friendly smile, a high five, or even a nod when we're out there in the course. It means a lot. I wouldn't be able to get to where I am. I wouldn't be able to have the sponsors that I have if it wasn't for all those people who are there. We feed off all that, and it helps me perform sometimes a little bit better.
That's awesome. Well, we wish you a ton of success. We hope you have a great time in Europe. If we don't make it out to BC, because I don't know when we'll get there, we'll hopefully catch up with you at Falcons Flight. We can share a beverage and cheers it up and have a good time. So that's awesome. Cool. Thank you so much, Miguel.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. We'll catch you later.
Okay. Peace.
Thanks.
Well, Daryl, we just did it again.
We did it again. The standards keep going up, Jeremy. We're branching out now. That's the good thing about the guests. As much as we're only a small podcast. We're still new. We're 18 episodes in, but we've branched out from Edmonton. We started to branch out of Alberta. Now we're stretching to the west coast of Canada. I really enjoy, like we said, we just want to really showcase Canadian disc golf and those names that people are not very familiar with. We want to make them household names, right?
Well, we do. And the thing is as you and I ourselves in starting this podcast and starting to focus on Canadian disc golf, we're learning these names and we're finding out who these people are, and we're finding out that they have these great stories that they can tell us and that they are sponsored by the big names and they're going to these big tournaments and they've got great stories, and we want to bring that out to everybody. So I'm so glad that Miguel agreed to join us today. I think, like, if you couldn't tell, like, I think I'm positive, but I could just feel the positivity radiating out of him, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that guy's got a negative bone in his body. Like, no matter what situation you could put yourself in, he would always find a positive spin on it. Even if guys on his card are telling him to be quiet because he's too positive, he takes that, okay, that's fine. I'll just be positive by myself. I know that I'm not going to interact with you. I'm going to, and just take that and play his own game. And yeah, it's awesome. And like you said, his origin story of like how he got into disc golf, and a couple of guys wanting to get him to donate money and take all his money and kind of like take him for a ride, and then for him to turn around and be like, no, I'm actually good at this and I'm going to go to the next town, and to follow his dream like that, to be like,
yes,
I've gotten as far as I can in this town or this city or whatever it might be. Where have I got to go? Oh, you need to go to the big town. Like it's like I said, it's like a story. It's like a movie that you could, I could watch that.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe we'll have to make a rough copy of one or something. We'll get a script together, a little manuscript on it.
Yeah. Hollywood will be calling. That's fine.
Yes. Well, so I would say for anybody who wants to see that positivity of Miguel's, is either watch the first round coverage of TCO or watch rounds 2 and 3 of Falcon's Flight. And you'll see is like, even in Falcon's Flight, he slowly was slipping a little bit behind Ben, but every time positive, as you were saying, kind of hugging the basket or giving a little knock to the basket, fist bumping everybody after they made a putt and did well. So that was good. And you know what was also a little bit of a flip of the script as well to me was we've heard a few stories from the FPO and the female side of things that they got into disc golf, and they had this partner who was obsessed with disc golf, and they were like, keep coming out, let's go. And they were like, why are we going out?
Yeah.
Well, this was the opposite. This time Miguel's partner, which would have been on the female side of playing, she was the one asking him to keep coming out, and it
Yeah.
took some time. So seems like in every relationship there's always going to be one who's a little more obsessed with the disc golf than the other.
Yeah. And then the way that, just having somebody in his life to say, well, what's stopping you? Why aren't you doing this? And then, we all have those little battles, internal battles about, are you good enough? Why should you be doing this? Why shouldn't you be doing this? But when somebody else asks you that question and you can't come up with a good enough reason why not, good for him
Well,
for
I think
listening and taking that on board.
I think that's one of those things, Daryl, isn't it? Is that they say is ask why, but you have to ask it 3 times, right? And he kind of got to that, and I think he maybe got to 2 times when he was there. He said, when they said, why don't you go out and make disc golf your thing? Why not? And he says, well, because I got to work. And he said, but why not? And he said, well, no, maybe it's me. Maybe it's not the work. So it takes sometimes asking that question a few times, because we can all brush something off. But if someone persists, it really makes us dig deep and maybe find the answer to that question.
Yeah.
So
another great guest.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Daryl, we're going to have to, I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to have to play around or something. If we get a chance to have Miguel as a caddy, I don't know how we're going to decide who's going to be, whose caddy he's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen pictures of Gannon Burr's caddy carrying a bag on the front and a bag on the back. I think that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to do double duty.
Yeah. And where are we to even say anything? We should be the ones asking to be his caddy. He shouldn't be offering to be our caddy.
Yeah.
So.
And that, speaking of being a caddy and all that, that's, just the other good story there, the feel good story of his friend Nick that went down to Mexico with him. And like you said, that he was having a hard time, being the host, being the translator, catering to everybody's needs. He wasn't having a disc golf side. Maybe he wasn't having the greatest time, but obviously being that host for everybody and making sure everybody else had a good time. And then to get on that 17th and 18th and just be caddying for a buddy. And then, his game might not have been going so well, but he's just so happy for his buddy to take down the win. And like I say, against strong competition in Kevin Jones as well.
Yes. And to be so positive still in that situation where he finds out he's with Discmania. He's actually got 3 discs or whatever he had, and he had to ask people to bring him discs and then go into a tournament to and still all that positivity is fantastic. But what I'm going to say, Daryl, is I think MPOs in Canada, you better watch out, because if Miguel was playing the way he's been playing and he wasn't practicing and now he's going to practice, what is that going to do, Daryl?
Yeah, it's exciting to see. Yeah. Oh, we kind of skipped over a question that I was going to ask him. I wanted to ask him about, because, like you say, he's played 3 tournaments last year. Hopefully he'll be playing a bit more. Maybe he's got his job situation sorted out. I was going to ask him about the fantasy draft, that maybe he's got some insider knowledge for us. But definitely he's going to be one of those names that we'll be talking about in the future when we, actually get into our fantasy disc golf episodes. Maybe it won't be Thomas and Casey that we're picking first. Maybe hopefully down the road, maybe it'll be Miguel that is the first one we need to pick.
Yeah, well, now we've got he's got a spot now. He's earned his friend of the show status.
Yeah, there you go.
So no, that's fantastic. Well, why don't we just keep on rolling along here?
Yeah.
And we don't have to do a Winter League update because Winter League's all done. But we will do a putting league update. And really what it was just to say that putting league is now done. I was just there the last night yesterday.
Yeah.
And we had a fun night where we did Ring of Fire, where we were doing shots from different angles and turbos and sidearms and sidearm forehands and scoobers and you name it, we did it. And it was just a lot of fun. So really what I wanted to say about putting league was thanks to Brock, thanks to Mike Carey and Edga, and then of course Robbie Lychuk for pushing that putting league another 2 weeks. It was a great time. I feel like I got maybe a little bit better. Now I just have to kind of maintain that and keep it going so that when we get into the season, my putting continues to improve. But thanks for putting league, guys. It was fantastic.
And also we should give a shout out as well to BR Disc.
Yes. Yeah.
Who as we're speaking, the night that we're recording this, released the putting standings. The results were in, and I'm not sure which division you were in.
I played in the amateur division.
The amateur division. So, give props where props is due. You came in second out of Alberta.
Yeah, I guess I did.
There you go. You're earning your sponsorship, Jeremy.
There you go. Yes, thanks so much to Brendan and BR Disc Golf, because each of the putting leagues was doing their own individual competitions, but then Brendan made it available so that you could see how you ranked against the other clubs in Alberta. So we had Bonnyville, Calgary, Grand Prairie, a number of different clubs all together. And then that we got to actually see how we ranked comparative to them. So I think really when it came to Winter League this year and it came to Putting League, I kind of thought I was just still sitting in the middle there. And I guess if I'm getting closer to that top, I'm going to have to move up a tier and then work my way up again and get beat down at the bottom for a while. So
there you go. So they say the cream rises to the top, Jeremy.
Well, that's it. Now I know I'm getting tips from pros like Miguel. I'll get out there, I'll practice. And I just got to figure out what I got to practice. So we did mention it too in when we were talking to Miguel that the Canadian Disc Golf Tour will be announced soon in our chats with Matt and with Jesse and Andre there in the emails and that. They're just finishing that up. But we're really hoping that we're going to see that announcement. We think Foxwood Open is going to be the first one.
Yeah.
But I thought maybe we could tell our listeners maybe a quick little review of what we're going to do and maybe that little twist that you and I talked about recently.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about it. I'm not sure if we exactly finalized the twist.
No, it's a work in progress, right?
Yeah, it's always going to be a work in progress. So yeah, going back to, we'll try and explain this the best we can because I don't think we did a very good job of it last time.
Well, that's why I wanted to give you another chance because I know you got it this time.
Oh, sure. So for each disc golf, Canadian disc golf tournament, so not necessarily every week, every tournament, probably the Wednesday or the Thursday, we haven't decided on a day, but probably the Wednesday or the Thursday before the tournament happens, we'll release a bonus episode. It'll be separate from the Chainout podcast that you're listening to right now, where it'll be our fantasy picks. So it won't be a long episode. It won't be 2 hours like this one is. We're going to do a snake draft. The rules are that we have to pick, the original rules is we have to pick 3 MPO and 3 FPO.
Yes.
Each. It'll be a snake draft, but not necessarily in that order. So it's not MPO first, FPO second. You can pick FPO first if you want, any of the combination of the players. So once we have our 6 players each, we will assign points based on their finishing standings. So if they win the tournament, you will get, I've forgotten, but Jeremy's putting up his hand, so I'm saying 5 points for a win. If you finish second, you get 3 points.
If you're on podium first, if you're second or third, you're going to get 3.
Sorry, yes, second or third, you get 3.
And then if you're
in the top 10, you're going to get 1 point.
Yes.
So if you pick the winning FPO and MPO,
this is the fun part. You got it.
Your other 2 picks finish on the podium. So you'll have 5 points for a win for the MPO, 5 points for a win for the FPO. That makes 10.
Yes.
And then you'll have 3 points for a second, 3 points for a third MPO, 3 points for a second, and 3 points for a third FPO, which makes 12. 12 and 10 makes 22, not 32, as I put the graphic up or I said in the podcast last time. So maximum points will be 22.
And if this was post-produced, Daryl would be putting up each of those numbers in the plus sign and the equal sign. So you can just envision that in your head.
Yeah. But we will do that probably when it comes to the fantasy episodes. But that's the format. That's the scoring. Now, tournament by tournament, whoever wins the most amount of points will win that tournament. So they will get a win in that column. Now, let's say Jeremy has the 2 podium finishers, but I have, the 2 winners, and I have the 4 podium finishers. We will add those points up separately, and they will go into another column, and we'll, at the end of the season, for every point total, we're going to add them up. Whoever has the most amount of points will win that section. That category, yeah. So whoever has the most wins per week, per tournament, will win. So let's say Jeremy wins 4 weeks and I win 3 weeks. Then Jeremy wins that section.
I win that category. Yeah, that section.
Category. When we add all the points up, if I have the most amount of points, because I might not win that week, but I might have more points overall, then I'll win that category.
Yep.
If it does get tied after, if Jeremy wins the points and I win the overall dubs, each week we're going to release our picks, and you, the listeners and viewers, are going to be able to vote on which team you think is going to win that tournament. So, if the majority of the listeners pick Jeremy to win Foxwood Open, and Jeremy actually wins Foxwood Open, then Jeremy's going to get a point, or the audience members are going to get a point for that tournament.
Yeah.
Then after the whole season is done, whoever had the most amount of wins based on the viewers, listeners' picks will be the deciding and will be the tiebreaker.
That's right.
That was the original format. The little twist that we're going to hopefully try and make it a bit more interesting, make it a bit more fun for everybody, is we're hoping to be able to add a third special guest into
a rotating special guest
into the mix. So sometimes we might have the same guest on 2 weeks in a row, depending on availability. We want to cycle through their guests, so they will have a pick as well.
That's right. And what we're doing is we're looking for some people who are paying attention to Canadian disc golf and have an interest in it and are going to be able to pick the players. If you don't, it might just be a little harder for you to participate, but we'll have some people in mind. But as the listeners, if you guys say, oh, who would be great to be on to do some picks, drop that in the comments and we'll be sure to entertain those options as well.
Yeah.
Again, that's a work in progress, as Daryl's making sure I put out there, because until that first week comes up, we don't know what's exactly how it's going to work.
And you know what? This format might change throughout the season as well. If we realize that, this isn't going to work, this doesn't really fit our schedule, it's hard to get guests, or whatever the situation might be, the situation might change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, another thing, too, this is Canadian disc golf related, and we just wanted to kind of send our thoughts and our prayers and good vibes and anything we can out to Noah Higgins. If anybody who hasn't been following, Noah has posted up on his Facebook profile there that he had a recent truck accident that he was in as a result of some seizures that came on that he's never experienced before in his life, and ended up he's spending some time in the hospital. And just as of the time we're recording, there is a GoFundMe that is available. So we just want to really send all the positivity we can to Noah. And, we were working to hopefully have him on as a guest at some point, and we will definitely do that when the time arises that it can happen. But we just want to see him get better and see him back out there on the courses. And if we can support him, or if you can support him, please do reach out to that GoFundMe. And Daryl, if there's anything else you want to say on that.
I'm just trying to search for it right now so I can pull it up and put it on the screen. It's it's not something you ever want to hear, right? You never want anyone to be in any sort of accident or in any sort of pain or have anything like that. But yeah, whatever we can do, just bringing it up here right now. So, you know what? That's amazing. Just looking at it right now, he had a goal of $2,500 and he has raised $2,500. I don't know how long this has been available for, but we only found out a couple days ago. So 28 donations there. If anybody wants to, let's not stop at 2,500. Any donation helps. It's like you said, it came out of the blue. It's not something that he suffered with before or anything like that. He does have a certain period of time now where he's not allowed to drive anymore. He has to be seizure free for a certain amount of time. So it was good to hear that. The thing that he kind of mentioned was that his mum, I think, was going to have to drive him to all of his tournaments this year. So he's already in that mindset of, I'm done with this. It's not going to affect me. I'm still going forward. I'm getting better. I still planning to participating in these tournaments, right? So, whatever we can do to help Noah out.
Definitely. And it also shows that he had his sense of humor in that, as well as saying, I guess, Mom, you're going to be driving me around. So,
yeah.
So I think that's what we've got there. And another couple of things we wanted to do is start talking about, we're getting into tournament season, and some of the local tournaments are starting to come up. So one of the ones that's ready and open now and you can register for is the Go-To tournament, which is going to be held and be your first time probably to get a chance to play the course.
Yeah.
It's going to be held at the new Science Park course.
Science,
and Sunridge.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an interesting tournament. That's a 3-disc tournament sponsored by, I wanted to say Hooligan, but it's not Hooligan. Sorry, I forgot
It's
the name.
Go-To, isn't it? Isn't that why it's called Go-To?
I don't believe it is.
Oh, well, you look that up. But the one thing I did is I recently talked to, I know Joey Wilson's part of it because he's doing the Science Park opening.
Mm-hmm.
And I did talk to some of the EdGov members this week and said, well, what are the chances? Because Science Park isn't quite open yet. What are the chances that this tournament's actually going to happen there? Because they have Hermitage as the backup. And what I was told is there's some pretty good confidence that depending on where the snow's at, the Sunridge course could be iffy, but the Science Park course will definitely be in. It would have to be some extreme weather that would bar that course from being ready for this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do apologize. I was thinking of a different Canadian brand. They are a Canadian brand of disc golf, manufacturer of discs. And yes, they are called Go-To.
And they're out of British Columbia. And the 3 discs that you have is you got a putter, you got a mid, and you got I think like about a fairway driver or so. I know they're all named after musical instruments and kind of have some more cartoon comedic type graphics on them. So one of them's called the bongo.
Yeah. You got the cowbell and the gong.
And we always need more cowbells. So now you'll have it. It'll be in your bag if you go into this tournament.
Yeah. If you're interested, the bongo 2301 putter, cowbell 56 -1 mid range, and the gong 7502. So, yeah, nice starter set.
So that's a tournament, and I think it's a really reasonable price tournament. Maybe $40 is registration, and you're going to get 3 discs out of it. So, and you get to play a brand new course. So give that one a look at. Also, of course, She's Up First is coming up. So if there's any women listening out there who haven't registered already, it's a great intro to tournament play. It's going to be good for all levels. Kristen Swirls is the TD. And if you haven't listened to our episode about her or with her, go back and check that one out. But she's a very positive player and will be putting on another good tournament.
Yeah.
So check that one out. And then there's also the doubles tournament coming up, which the winning teams at the top level will get an entry, as Brock has told us how many times. There's no flights involved, but a chance to go down to the World Championship doubles tournament down in the U.S. So you'll have an opportunity to go. W.R. Jackson, I think, is where that was going to be held.
Yeah.
So that's a tournament. So make sure you register for those. And keep in mind this year, everybody, too, is that if you haven't volunteered for a tournament, maybe this is the year that you should. So find one of the tournaments that fits a weekend where you've got some time, reach out to the TD. And, Daryl and I are volunteering for She's Up First, but I'm sure once we're done volunteering at that one, you had a great time at Edmonton Open last year spotting. I think, you know more than anyone that it's great fun to play, but if you can't play, it's just as fun to volunteer at that point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I like you said, I was spotting on the hole 16 at Bailey's Crossing for the Edmonton Open. But after the rounds were done, I was helping, take down some things, put stuff away, helping clean up whatever needed to be done. So, but yeah, just, if you like disc golf, you like watching disc golf, then there's nothing better than to have your own private show standing on the side of the fairway, watching everybody drive and watching their, just watching how everybody else plays and how everybody else would attack the hole, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and to that point, you still, anytime we go to hole 16 at at Bailey's Crossing,
Yeah.
or anytime it comes up, you always mention Noah's long bomb
Yeah.
where he just cut off just because it was so amazing and you got to witness it firsthand. So
Yeah, exactly. It all comes around, right? We mentioned Noah, and yeah, that was it's definitely a highlight for me at that event.
yeah. And we were going to wrap up the episode here, but a couple things I wanted to say was we've talked about goat towels a few times, not a sponsor, but Daryl has the Thomas Gilbert towel. I have the Chantel Budinsky towel. And then we also talked about the Colton Montgomery or the C. Monty towel. Definitely go ahead and buy that one if you like. But we said that he's Canadian, and I did a little check, and I fact checked us there, Daryl, and Colton Montgomery is not Canadian.
Did we say he was Canadian?
Yeah, we said support these 3 Canadians.
Oh, I thought we were supporting Goat Towel because Goat Towel is Canadian.
Okay, yeah. So support Goat Towel. Buy whichever one you want that way. But if you thought Colton was Canadian, no, he's I believe he's out of Colorado, I think.
Oh, okay. But
yeah.
maybe Colton's your favorite player, so go and support him anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
There you go.
And then last thing was our 2 big Canadian touring players on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, Chantel Budinsky and Thomas Gilbert. They're down at the Open at Austin.
Yeah.
And that's going to start up tomorrow, right? I believe is the Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be the first round there. And we're hoping that they both have a great tournament and a better showing than they did at Waco. I know they both were at Waco playing and kind of the first couple tournaments of the season to get out there, but neither of them were able to place high enough to get to the final round 4 on the Sunday. So now this one here, I believe, is a 3 round, but let's everybody cheer them on from home there, yell at your phone or your TV or your computer, however you're watching, and cheer on Chantel and Thomas.
Yeah.
It might only be by the PDGA live scores, but you can still do it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what we're all about. Is just, maybe before people that like Canadian disc golf and things like that would know that Chantel plays, but that's about as far as it would go. But now, hopefully, the fact that we're talking about these people, next time Foxwood Open, it's happening. Hopefully, you're more likely to check the standings, check PDGA Live, and look for Miguel, and be like, "Oh, how's Miguel doing? I know him. He's that Mexican Canadian that had that great origin story, and he was on that great podcast. What was that great podcast called? Oh, it was Chainout podcast. That's right. I should go and subscribe to that."
Yes, I like it. That's a nice subtle plug. Good job, Daryl.
Did you notice that?
Well, and the other thing about it too is I know a lot of us will follow these players on Instagram, Facebook, and we'll like, and that's great. Yeah. But the one thing that we will tell you from our experience, and just even also being in that world of having some social media and that, is drop a comment. It doesn't have to be much, but just drop something that you from your heart or whatever, or a good luck or that, because I can tell you when we see it, we appreciate it. And I know from when we've put posts for Chantel and Thomas, they've liked them, appreciated, replied to them. And I really think that shows that they've got a lot of support behind them, especially from the Canadian disc golfers up here.
And we know people like Thomas and Chantel, they don't have PAs working for them. They don't have assistants taking care of their social media or anything like that. So when you see that like and that comment back from them, the thanks or the heart or whatever it might be, that's them actually responding to you.
Yes. Yeah. You feel like you've got some direct interaction.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Chris helps Chantel once in a while. I don't know, but I think Thomas is doing all his own.
Yeah. Yeah. Just because we put a comment on their post and they might reply back with a thanks or a heart emoji or whatever it might be, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're a friend of the show yet, Jeremy.
No, they've got to get on this show.
They've got to come on the show to get friend of the show status. So don't worry,
if they're
Thomas,
listening,
don't worry, Chantel, we know you're there.
Yeah, we'll get an invite out to you sooner or later, or if you want to reach out, our people will talk to your people, which is you to us, and we'll get it figured out.
Yeah. We know you're busy. We know that there's a tour going on right now. So, but we'll try and find some downtime, or maybe we'll wait till the end of the season or 5 years from now. But we'll reach out to you. Don't worry. We'll get you on.
Yeah. Until then, Daryl, I think what we should do is we should plan a trip down to Raptor's Knoll.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go down to Raptor's Knoll, and then I'm going to have Miguel on my bag. That's for sure. I don't know what you're going to do, but good luck, because I'm going to have Miguel on my bag. We're going to roll up to hole 4.
Yeah.
Miguel's favorite hole on the course. He's going to say, hey, Jeremy, here, I think I've got this. He would give me a PD3, but then he'd see how far I throw, and he'd realize that's not going to do it for me. So he'd pull out the MD3 out of my bag, and he'd say, Jeremy, you got this. You're going to take Daryl down. Yeah. You just throw this nice and flat, maybe a little bit of Annie, just roll that thing over.
Yeah.
It's going to go around. And only because I've got Miguel on my bag, choosing my disc, choosing the hole, that thing's going to turn over nicely through the air. It's going to go into the chains as an ace, buddy. Yeah. My heart's going to be pumping, and we're all going to be on the edge of our seats thinking, what is that disc going to do? You know what it's not going to do.
It would never.
It could not possibly. Chain out. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Sorry. Okay, thanks, everybody.
Catch you next week.
You want to hear something? I hear there's a secret word on the street. I don't know nothing. But I hear the secret word is horse feeder. But you didn't hear it from me.